When we started with McKinley Railway, we had quite a lot of stock to run around the existing route, but when we started to plan the time machine, the extension to it, the requirements went through the roof. And I was getting very confused as to, did we already have that engine? No. Do we have too many of this? And so we quickly came up with the idea that we needed some kind of control system to manage our stock. And a database was the solution. And we're going to show you a little bit of that today. On McKinley Railway, we have about 2,250 items of stock. So that might sound quite a lot, well it is, but a lot of people have a huge amount of stock and they just have it in their cupboards and have no idea exactly what is what. On McKinley, we know down to every wagon where it's stored, what its running number is, when it came in and when it went out. So the database allows us to manage our workflow going through the process, and I'm going to take you through that sequence and show you on screen. As stock comes in, Ian looks at it and says, right, he catalogues it into the system, identifies what era it came in and what it went out. So with locomotives, it's really easy. The date that it was changed colour, for example, a new livery is often documented. With coaches, it's a little bit more vague. You're taking a stab approximately at some year 57 or 58 in terms of going from blood and custard to maroon. With wagons, the advent of new technology wagons like Freightliner is documented, but a lot of stuff isn't. So you're taking a bit of a punt. But so we establish a guess. The key thing about those dates is it allows Ian to start to stipulate what kind of stock we still need to purchase, i.e. where we have gaps. So with our locomotives, we've got so many steam engines and so many diesels, but the diesels, are they tops blue or are they two-ton green? And what numbering system? Do we have enough locomotives to haul trains in 1972? So the database, once we put the stock that we had in, allows us to start to control what we're buying so that we buy the right amount of stock. Another key thing that's important for the railway is we put coaches and DMUs and wagons into sets. So we have 8 Freightliner wagons make a set. That's a set that will stay together. An express passenger train will have 8 coaches and it will stay as a set in its operational life. And in the database, we put trains into their sets. And because we know the approximate entry or the arrival and departure in era terms of all of the coaches and wagons, the sets get defined. And we also record things like the set length, which become important for other things that we'll describe later on. So let me take you through some of the screens here in terms of what we record for each of the individual items and show you some of the set information. The first one I'm going to talk about is a locomotive. This one here is a Hornby Class 31 in BR blue with a tops number on it. And you can see over here all the work that we've defined that we've got to do. Do we have to add lights? Do we have to add crew? Do we have to do pickups? Has the chip been profiled or not yet? All the key items of work that we've got to do on that locomotive, plus some anecdotal background information if it's important, plus also the chip. What chip have we got inside that engine? Is it a sound chip? What kind of socket is it? Is it a 21 pin or an 8 pin? It's a real pain going back and capturing this stuff, but if you start off, well, certainly with a project of this scale, it's quite important to have access to information so that you can monitor it. And so this really helps us to plan our work schedule and to keep track of what we're doing with each and every locomotive as it goes through the process. Another screen we have here is to do with wagons and coaches. Here I've got a Shark wagon that's come up. We know what the manufacturer number is, the Hornby, which model number it is, what its running number is. We've got a start date of July 55. We haven't defined an end day yet, but we know we need to put in resistors to the wheels. We don't need to renumber it. We don't need to add pickups, but we do need to do an awful lot of work because it's a brand new model. It needs to be weathered.
When I receive a box of locals to weather, they come complete with a batch of data cards. The data cards tell me what to do. As I complete each job, I tick off. It's got weathering, detailing, whether it needs crew or not, whether it needs renumbering, or if it's a local steamer, it tells me whether to cool it or not. As I work through the sheet, each box is ticked. When I've finished the train, I then go to the iPad. I then type in the number of the train on the iPad and the data sheet comes up. I then transfer my ticks to the iPad. I then take a photograph using the iPad, so each data sheet has got a photo of the train. That picture is now loaded on the database. So the rest of the team know the train's been done, they know where it's stored until it goes onto the layout, and the whole system runs smoothly.
As I hinted at earlier on, one of the things that we can do is put things into sets. Here's a particular view of an express train where we have collated or married up 8 coaches in a prototypical formation of a brake second corridor, or so on, so on, and so on, all the way to a brake guard at the other end. 8 coaches in crimson and cream. It will start in October 1954 and it will come off at about the end of 1959. We might actually pull it on and off later or earlier so that it fits in with a flow of stock. But this defines the set that's going to work together and be married for the operational life that it lives on McKinley. And later on in another video we'll show you where those sets live in the storage yard Hades. Because we have the stock in the database and we know its location, we can start to run other clever applications like timetabling, which we've hinted at earlier, and it's in development. But that's what the end goal is, that we use the stock sets in our operational role in terms of running trains.